Welcome back to Studio F. We're on Fast Times Willy B. We're reviewing Final Destination Bloodlines. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Mo with me. Mo, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good. I'm tired, but doing really good. How are you doing?
I feel that. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day.
It's an eventful day,
Yes.
but it's great.
You know? So, we've reached the end. We're here to talk about Final Destination Bloodlines. The end for now.
We've reached the final destination
Yes.
for the time being.
For the time being. And I think we can both safely say we'll take more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But nonetheless, we're here to talk about the sixth installment to this franchise. Director-wise, we have two new guys. We've got David Lepovsky, who did Leprechaun Origins, and he redeemed himself. And we got Adam Stein, who didn't do Leprechaun Origins, but they've done a lot of movies together. And that one, he decided to sit out. So good for you, Adam.
Yeah, if you're seeing this, good for you.
But cast-wise, not really any familiar faces. Harmon was the biggest name, I guess, and he was most of the marketing. But
yeah,
I haven't seen anything else he was in. And then Tony Todd, obviously.
Yeah,
bringing him back.
That's what I was saying. Is he was like the poster child, like front and center for almost any promotional piece I've seen leading up to this movie.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I really hope you do play a big part in this movie. Because you're front and center the entire time. Like, if you had just a small insignificant role, this is going to look wild to me that you're in front of everybody and trying to basically be in charge of the group to only have, like, maybe 10 minutes of screen time. Yeah. Or, if anything, a awful death. Like, bad. Not, like, you know what I mean.
He had a bigger role than I expected, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Miss Santajuana, she plays Stephanie, our main character. But
yeah,
we'll start with the good. And a lot of this movie's in the good, man.
A lot of good.
Kills are in the good. Or deaths, I should say. We've been calling them kills the whole franchise, but not really kills. They're more deaths, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're definitely in the good. Something I want to point out first and foremost is going the family route. I'm putting in the good because I think it added some emotional power to the deaths. Yeah. I don't know if you felt this way, but watching this movie, the deaths were more sad in this movie than I felt in the first 5 movies because
they
were all within family. Yeah.
Oh, no, I definitely felt the emotional impact of, like, the other family members witnessing, like, their loved
Howard's
ones.
death?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And his hurt even more because it was at a moment where they were celebrating life and having everybody come back. So it was a whole joyous, happy moment. And then to have something like that go on, my God, it hurt more.
Yeah, in the backyard of your family home. And it's right after you're, like, figuring out that Howard's the cool dad and uncle, and he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
And he's made sure his kids' lives were much better than his life as a kid. Like, he's just genuinely a good person. And you learn that in a very short time.
Yeah.
And then his death is so brutal, and it's seen by everyone. It's just so sad. But I like that aspect to it because something these movies have always been is dumb fun. And this one added emotional pull, tugged on the heartstrings a little more. And I thought that was cool. Yeah. I like that. Not saying that I never felt that way in the first 5 movies because there is some like when a girlfriend and boyfriend get separated via death, but
or mother and son.
Yeah, this one it's definitely the most I've felt like sadness watching a Final Destination movie.
Yeah, and then on top of the family thing, this tragedy brings them to reveal deep family secrets as well.
Yeah.
Like with our character Eric and finding out more about his backstory. Yeah.
He's not blood. He's not part of the bloodline.
But it didn't stop death.
Nope, death sees no bloodline. Premonition, also in the good.
Oh, yeah. I liked how they really did the premonition. I really did because I thought we were just going to, how it started out, everything like a normal premonition, and then when it snapped back, I thought we were just going to get back to, like, Iris, like, going up or something like that. But no, the fact that after the premonition and Iris dies in it, we go all this way
Stephanie's
forward
waking up from
to
a nightmare.
Stephanie. And I was like, that's insane that I liked the twist of it.
Yeah.
I really did. And what I also really liked about it was, even though it's kind of a given, but the fact that when Iris stops the tragedy of it, it saves all these people.
Yeah.
That, like, it wasn't like, again, okay, I saved certain individuals and then and then they went on to have all these families and their bloodline. No, she saved everyone. Yeah. And then it just goes to show that death really doesn't care how high the count gets, and it went after all of those people and their bloodline.
Yeah.
And that's was sick.
Cool. It's definitely cool. It's probably the most far-fetched premonition we've gotten so far in the 6 movies, as far as like realism goes, but it's so out there and bonkers and fun that I'm here for it.
I was gonna say it when
the power of the penny.
Not just the penny, but how the piece from the chandelier falls down and cracks the floor that's supposed to support human weight.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, that's not cracking that.
Yeah, I definitely get that, and the only thing I think of to try to play devil's advocate and argue for it is it's the 50s, and maybe it's like a Titanic situation where they didn't build it as strong as they thought they did.
Yeah.
Whereas like today, when things are built, they're built for tough.
Yeah.
Like building wise.
Okay.
When you're talking about toys suck compared to when old toys. But like when it comes to infrastructure and construction, I feel like nowadays they know so much, and like the materials are just stronger, and like
there's
back then maybe the glass just wasn't as strong as they thought, and it's like a Titanic situation. But that's me again playing devil's advocate. I'd probably lean towards the side with you.
Yeah,
and really,
and there's a lot more testing with it. And what kind of really got to me during the premonition, and like even before it, was all those people don't feel the glass wobbling a little bit, or nobody while they're dancing looks down and sees cracks.
They were in it, man.
All around. Yeah, like when she stops them and she's like, the glass is about to break. The glass is going to break. And all those people were still standing there. It was like, if I was in that crowd, I would have just looked down really quick to see if there's any signs that it's going to crack. And if I would have seen all like those cracks, I would have immediately shouted too, like, get off.
It's the 50s, man. Everybody just trusted everything.
Yeah.
You left your door unlocked. Yeah.
But
yeah.
But on top of the premonition, I really did like how with the singer, you know, and she had her son there, I was like, they're gonna play an important piece later on. Yeah. But then the reveal to show who that little boy was,
great twist.
Oh my god, it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony Todd, I think this is a great send-off for him. Rest in peace. I'm glad we got the in memory of there at the end, too.
Yeah.
He's an icon, man.
Yeah, and
Candyman, Bloodworth, even in he's in The Crow.
Yeah, I was
feel
just
like
gonna
he's
say
not
that.
recognized for that enough. I love him in The Crow.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, it was a tough loss losing him, because everything I've ever seen him in, he's been fantastic. But this was a good last for him for sure. And he kind of gets his walk out the door, and he's like, I'm gonna go. And he gets a little I like the almost send off we get from him in the monologue he says, and like, life is precious, and you never know when it's. That's, you know, like, yeah. I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, damn, like they almost like knew he wasn't gonna be here for the movie with that quote, like.
I was gonna say that was gonna be the next point I was gonna bring up, is that hearing that, it kind of like stung a little more, because I was like, he's saying these things and he's gone, and I'm sure like he actually meant those beyond the screen. And what makes his this last appearance of him so much more like meaningful is that it's authentic and everything like that, because after like, you know, a long time ago with Fast and Furious and Paul Walker and stuff like that, I was like, so if anybody like dies like while they're making a movie, you know, or Brandon Lee in The Crow, that they can reuse old footage, computers, and everything like that to basically finish out their role. But to find out that they didn't have to do any of that for him, that he was able to start to finish, be there for the project and finish it out in his true self, makes it even more meaningful, that they didn't have to rely on some old footage or extra skill to like get the job done.
I'm telling you, man, I didn't realize Final Destination Bloodlines was gonna make me tear up. But it tugs on the heartstrings, man.
I did, and I wanted to look at you. I wanted to like nod at you, since we did the entire time, and just be like, I'm tearing up right now.
Somebody cutting onions.
Yeah, he was cutting unguns.
Unguns. But yeah, man, that was a really good connection, send off, wrap the movies with a bow type of situation they did with Tony Todd and I. I really enjoyed that. So kudos to the writing on that one. Also in the good, this one had some good comedy, and a lot of it's Eric.
Yeah, he was absolutely great throughout the comedic bits, especially how when Darlene shows up with the cookies and was just like, these are these peanut butter cookies, and he just stands there front and center and screams immediately, "Are you trying to kill my brother?"
Yeah.
It's like, you can just say
nut check.
Yeah. And then how it's just like, "Did you do a nut check in this thing?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "What?" "Oh yeah, I gotta go grab the peanut butter." And then instead of just throwing it away or anything, just absolutely chucks this jar of peanut butter across, and you hear it splat. And I'm like, that's on the sidewalk or in someone's driveway.
Yeah.
Like, you gonna go clean that up?
Dude, he's so funny. And Bobby's really funny, too. The two that stick out for me with Bobby are when he is told to stay home, he starts crashing out on all the things in the house that can happen. I read the book, and but then when he's in the hospital and he eats the peanut butter cup and he's like, oh my God. And he's like, what, is it working? He's like, it's so good.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, it's good, but is it working?
The house instance, it got really funny to me because how he's like, I read the book, you can fall down the stairs, and he just keeps saying for me. He's like, or fall into the toilet.
Yeah.
And it's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Then he's like, I don't know, just a ton of stuff. I would much rather be out of the house than in here.
Yeah.
And I was like, you could have named off so many better things than just fall down the stairs. Why does it have to be falling?
Yeah.
But fall down the stairs? Okay. Fall into the toilet?
Yeah.
That's what you came up with?
It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Reese Cup scene too, when he picks it out too, and he's like, I want that. I'm not eating that unsalted bullshit.
He's like, I want to die to something yummy at least.
Yeah.
And when they showed him, I was like, we couldn't get any peanut butter cups to sponsor this or a specific brand to sponsor this. It just had to be that very generic.
Golden chance for Reese's. What the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah.
To be the official peanut butter cup of Final Destination.
I was gonna say they could have had bulletin boards where it just shows the peanut butter cups and there's blood on them.
Threw their money in there.
Yeah. Even though it wasn't chosen, but still, Reese's, they could have gone all the way up.
Yeah.
Another
comedy was definitely good.
I was gonna say another great thing that I really loved was the score. I noticed it off the rip, especially when Stephanie pulls up to Iris's cabin.
That's when I looked at you
that's the
like,
moment where it hit me, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, this score is great, and then that's when you nudged over to me, and we kept doing that so many times to each other where I was like, I wonder if Brady or if somebody who's watching behind us notices that anytime something happens, we keep going over to each other dude. But the score.
Oh my gosh. The first 5 movies, they're not score heavy.
They're soundtrack heavy.
Yeah. I mean, the first one is John Denver. The second one we get the big one is Highway to Hell's in there. Third one, Blitzkrieg Bop's in there. It's very soundtrack heavy for sure. This one had some soundtrack moments, but it was very score heavy. And I was a big fan of the score.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of The Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with that movie, the score outclasses the soundtrack by miles, and it kind of feels the same way with this one.
Yeah.
Maybe not as bad, but still in the same.
Shout.
Yeah, but still kind of in the same of where the score is definitely should prioritize listening to first before you touch the soundtrack.
Yeah. Something else I'd put in the good too while we're talking about that scene. This movie had some decent cinematography.
Oh yeah.
And specifically those scenes when they're out there and it looks like the Pacific Northwest. You got all the pine trees and the fog, and I love our kind of motion of death in this one when she steps out of the house and you see the fog start moving and all the wind chimes going crazy. I loved that stuff.
And it shows the flashes in her book of how she played it out.
Yeah.
As well with the cinematography, what I really liked is you could tell something was going to happen because the cameras would take a slight angle change. Yeah, they would take a slight turn. Also with the death as well, it was real funny when when she catches that the light's reflecting and it's gonna cut it's gonna cut that plant, and then she just like throws it and she's just like, fuck off. Like, and Stephanie's like, what is that? And she's like, it's death.
Yeah.
He's waiting. He almost just got me now.
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit.
I will admit, some of the scenes with the blood, the blood was great, but it felt like too dark almost.
Okay.
And that's what I thought. But overall, the blood effects were another really good thing. Like, the amount they used.
Yeah.
Because there was some in the movies before where it was like, that whole person exploded, and you're telling me that's like maybe a 1 gallon's worth of blood.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's a ton, and this one, it did really good with the effect of that.
For sure. I'm trying to think what else I had in the good. I don't know. I feel like we've said most of it, if not all of it.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie's in the good.
I was gonna say, you mentioned the comedy. The dialogue. I mean, if it falls in the same.
It's probably the best dialogue we've gotten in a Final Destination movie. It's probably the most cohesive story we've gotten in a Final Destination movie as well.
Where outside of the comedy, the actual dialogue exchange between the characters, explanation and stuff, it was far superior compared to the other movies. And I mean, like, we had tragedies like 4, where it's almost like, are these people, do they have actual brains when they're speaking right now? Where I was hoping actors on that set were like, this doesn't even sound like an actual person talking. You want me to say this?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting paid thousands to say that? Okay, that's fine. But with this one, they actually have like well-constructed conversations, responses, and the explanations. They go in depth into it. They don't just give like one little piece and then the character either completely understands it or they need to go through this whole like chalkboard explanation of it.
Yeah.
But I really like the dialogue.
I'd also say the acting's good too.
Yeah.
Once again, not really getting any big names. I enjoyed all the performances.
If anything, it might put some of these like lesser known actors on the map. And
I think Harmon and Santawana were the 2 standouts for me. Eric and Stephanie.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to see them in more stuff now, since they really did pull off great acting in this.
For sure. Anything else in the good?
No.
So we can hop over to the meh. I don't think I have anything in the bad. Meh is where I'd put the effects.
Yeah, I told you one in particular that I had, which
I know there's one you'd probably say is bad. And it probably is considered bad. I'm putting it in the meh as a whole, though, because there were still some good effects, too.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say is how I've said in almost every video is my bad and meh can be basically the same.
Yeah.
So whenever you switch to these parts, I'm like, that's, if you, like how you said right now, you just have like meh, not bad. I was like, okay, then all my critiques that I have, they'll just sit in the meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the special effects, and it's only for one kill, and that's the thing where I have it is Julia's kill. And honestly, maybe just her kill in general, I think is stupid. Okay. How they play it out piece by piece, and then how she gets into the trash can and then it immediately just shoots her up. Like, the guy has to at least pay attention to know when to stop and grab the thing. So like, he definitely probably, like, before, like, if he was actually paying attention, which he has to make sure it grabs onto the trash can properly, see that there's legs out of it.
Yeah.
And then when it finally showed her head being squished, I was like, the head was the only problem. The arm was great.
That's fair.
The arm was great, but the head.
Yeah.
But the head, I was like, it. And this might just be me, like how you said. I think it looked pretty bad, like Peter's premonition kill in the Final Destination with the bar going through his face. It felt like that to me.
Fair. Yeah, there were definitely moments, but they used a lot of CG in this one, and it's definitely a huge step up from the 4th one and even the 5th one. The 4th one's just awful when it comes to the effects. But the effects weren't bad. There was moments where they were really good. There was moments where they were spotty. But all in all, definitely probably the best CG we've seen in the Final Destination movie. So
I think so. And I mean, it's been 14 years, and they really wouldn't have any excuse. Like with Julia's, I almost want to just ask why. But everything else, great. Even for kills that weren't all that, like, I would say spectacular or over the top, like Darlene's, still looks great effects wise.
Yeah. trying to think if I have anything else to complain about.
Anything
I don't know. I don't
else
think
that
I
I
do.
want to whine about?
I don't think I do, man.
Yeah, I don't either.
I enjoyed this quite a bit.
I don't either.
We didn't mention it, but good ending as well.
Oh yeah, the ending. My God, it was great.
Great. So we can hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with? Final Destination Bloodlines. What do you give it out of 10?
My final thoughts for Final Destination Bloodlines is, we're so fucking back.
Oh, we're back.
We're so
back,
back.
baby.
Yeah, and I really hope that, like how some people say, this gives a spark to us getting a couple more movies. If that's all I want, a couple more of these movies, and I think this definitely can give that spark to get those.
Yeah.
It's a really fun time, probably one of the most unique out of the franchise, and I've been on my drive. I was having the battle of, does this take top one? It definitely sits at number 2 confidently for me, but it's like sneaking up right there behind 3. And I think once I get a second chance to watch this, which I'm definitely going to, just to speak on that once you see it once, you'll want to go see it again.
Yeah.
Then I might have a final decision. But this is honestly a great way to kick off the summer.
Yeah.
I think everyone that should go see it. And it's another great one, kind of like 3, where you don't need to see like all the other ones to kind of understand everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they make nods to the second one with Kimberly and everything, which I did like that they didn't overhype the first one or the constant 183 or 183
Flight 180.
Flight 180 references. But definitely go check this out. Great fun, and hopefully we get more like this.
For sure. What are you scoring it?
Ooh, scoring it. See, I was trying to remember what I scored 3.
8.1.
8.1?
Yeah.
Okay, at least somebody remembered for me. If anything, I'm going to put it right at 8.
Okay. For me, I am also going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's number 1.
Okay,
I thought about it, and I'd put it right above. It's just, it's got a more cohesive story.
That's true.
At the end of the day. And I love the family touch to it. So, yeah, I'm going to say it's my number 1 in the franchise.
Okay.
Which isn't, like, based on what we're seeing in early reception, isn't far-fetched. It looks like this could be a lot of people's number 1.
Oh, yeah. All the videos I kept seeing, and I mean, I've pretty much, like, blown up your inbox on TikTok with people saying how great it is, how much they love it, and all of that. And I was like, this is just building me up.
Yeah.
This is building me up. I really hope it follows through and delivers, and it did beautifully.
Yeah, for sure. So now, we'll hop to ranking the deaths as we have in the first 5.
Yeah.
We have 7 in this movie. And Mo, as always, you kick us off.
I will be going with Darlene.
That's who I have at 7th
Darlene.
as well.
And even though I was ripping on Julia's kill, Darlene is there for me just because of how she's pretty much dead, and then she's mid-sentence and trying to give the corny line of, save your sister as long as I'm alive, and then it just the beam comes down on her. It takes her instead of Charlie. I was like, that doesn't do a lot for me.
That's what it was. It just didn't do a lot for me.
Yeah.
It was easily the most basic of the 7 kills in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And
6th,
I got Julia.
Okay.
Okay, I was wondering if we were going to be around the same. I mean, I could just look over, but I don't want to. Julia's is kind of like how I complain with the man. It's the special effects and kind of the realism of that one. Is that, like, if maybe it was, like, a bigger dumpster or something, but with it being so specific of it being, like, a claw operated to grab the trash can and trying to make us believe that some dude can not even pay attention really, and that claw's able to grab it and just dump it so he can be full blast headphones and just swiping right on every girl on like Tinder, like
Crusher is what it was called.
Get out of here. We both know. Yeah, so I got her at 6.
6th, I got Iris. This is where I thought the CG was a little spotty. Was on Iris's kill. Okay. I thought the jaw effect was a little but it was still a cool kill. 6 through 1, we're talking good.
Yeah.
We're talking good or better.
I was going to say, Iris's is the one where I was talking about the blood being a little darker.
Yeah.
On her face. Yeah.
Maybe,
on
she had
Stephanie's
cancer.
face.
I don't know if maybe that impacts it that way. I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
But maybe, I don't know. I'm just coming up with stuff on the spot.
Yeah.
But I got Iris in 6. It was cool.
Yeah, it was.
Good start, for sure. 5th place.
5th place, I have Howard.
Okay.
I have Howard there, and what mostly in kill-wise puts him there for me is because we see it pretty much in the one trailer. In the one trailer, we pretty much see...
Yeah, you leaned over and you said that's from the one trailer, and I had no idea what you were talking about, because I only watched... The only trailer I watched was the tattoo shop one.
Yeah, it was in the, newest one that they, came out with.
Yeah, I stayed away from it because I didn't want to know.
Yeah, so that's why he falls in 5th for me.
So you were like, this in the trailer, I was like, does he swallow the glass? What does he do here? And then the lawnmower, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I got it, but it sucks because of what a great character he was.
Yeah, for sure. 5th, this is where I have Bobby.
Okay.
Again, it's tough to rank these because I like most of them. For me, I'm ranking feasibility. I feel like there's got to be a limiter on that magnet.
Plus, it's not even realistic of how they work. The MRI machines, they're constantly going.
Yeah.
For the most part, they don't just turn on and off. At least from what I've heard.
But that pulling the thing out of the vending machine. That's why I'm gonna put it in 5th, just because. But the effect, his brain. Oh,
it was great.
Poor Bobby.
Yeah. Poor Bubba.
Bubba no. 4th place.
4th place. This is where I put Stephanie and Charlie's kills.
Okay.
I put them there mostly because of how you're telling me this train that's coming at you, you're able to outrun it, and then. The only reason it's kind of higher though, and why it's above these is the logs. The logs really get to me, and I mean the logs are pretty much an icon, for the whole franchise. I mean,
yeah.
What is it when they're driving the RV? We see a log truck.
Yeah.
And how we talked about in previous episodes, the promotionals they've been doing it is just log trucks going everywhere, scaring everybody. So I think if they would have died from that train, they would have probably gone lower, but if it hadn't been for those logs and how beautifully it was done, scraping them and headshotting them across the pavement, then I was that's what it did it for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. 4th for me, this is where I have Howard. Put it right in the middle. I think it was a good kill. I just think the other ones were better. This one I rated a little higher than you just because of the family weight I talked about. This is an emotional one to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, great kill there in the 4th spot.
I agree.
3rd spot.
3rd spot, this is where I have Bobby.
Okay.
This is where I have him.
Peanut butter cup.
Yeah. I think I mostly have it because of, even though it was small, the misdirect.
Yeah.
Of how when Eric punches it, the spring comes out. I was like, oh, that's going to be for him. I was like, that spring's definitely going to come and be for him, especially once they come into the room and realize it's an MRI machine.
Yeah.
But then for it to actually end up being his, and then how, even though it already got him, it was still turning and he was still alive after the initial impalement.
Yeah.
And it just keeps turning, and you can see, I was like, that was its issue. It wasn't turning.
Yeah.
And now they got it turning all they want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a cool looking kill. 3rd for me, this is where I have Julia.
Okay.
I like the kill a lot. I agree. It's probably not the best CG. But I also love how it was the entire that will fall and will blow the kids in the soccer ball. I love how that came to life. I thought that was funny.
Okay.
So it was comedy mixed with a good kill, and just the pulling her out and being right there when your cousin and best friend. Just that'd be horrifying.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that she probably would have got her out if they hadn't stopped it. Because remember, she was already halfway out, and then because they stopped the truck, it launched Julia further down. She lost her positioning because the truck stopped.
Yeah.
And that's when she tried getting back up there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. 2nd place?
2nd place is where I have Iris.
Okay.
I have Iris there. Mostly because of how she's able to predict it. And what kind of really puts her up there for me is the meaning behind her kill. How it's more of a symbolic thing to get Stephanie to understand, if this is happening, this is no joke.
Yeah.
You got to stop messing around And if you're not going to believe me, how she says, she's just like, step back. I mean, see, you got to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
Understanding that it was finally her time to go, and that even if it meant taking her life to help her granddaughter understand, like, you need to believe this and see it for yourself. Like, she took that risk for her family.
Yeah.
And that's why it's higher up there for me.
Dumb risk. She just goes back in the house. This movie never happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
Second for me is where I have Stephanie and Charlie.
Okay.
Logs get the last laugh, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Lincoln Log laughing.
Yeah. They come in and they made them a part of that street.
And then...
That's now Stephanie and Charlie Street.
Yeah. At the intersection.
Yeah, the intersection of Stephanie and Charlie.
And with this being said, I mean, I was right. We do have the same first kill. Eric's kill.
Dude.
Oh my god.
When you think he's safe, too.
Yeah.
Because he's not in the bloodline. He gets in the way of the wheelchair and, the piercings and... It's just brutal.
It's tough, especially the stomach. The stomach was really getting to me, and the fact that he has a skull on his stomach, too.
Yeah.
I was
watching like the wheelchair pipes burst through him, and
yeah, and when that first happened, and it showed like his piercings like up there, and then it showed his nipple piercings. I said I was gonna nudge over you and be like, I hope he doesn't have Prince Albert, and then it just shows it, and I was like, oh, never mind, he does.
He's got the whole 5 miles, man.
Yeah, and then how he just kept crushing before the wheelchair even.
Yeah.
And after after Bobby's even able to get the EpiPen and the nurse and all that, you look into the back and you just see the MRI's tunnel is just metal and blood.
Metal and Eric.
Yeah. But I mostly like his, not just for the gruesome part, but more of, again, kind of like with Iris, it's symbolic where it's like you're getting in death's way.
Yeah.
It's like if you're getting in the way, you're just going to be a part of the train and the link. It's not going to go around you or try to spare you. It's if you're actively trying to intervene, you will suffer.
And it's cool, too, because it's an emotional one, too, because Eric starts to become the fan favorite of this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that way, but I was really digging Eric's character.
No, I did, too.
And so it also just adds to that, because you think you get that... It's a misdirect. You think he's safe.
Kind of like how we thought it was going to be him that died instead of Julia.
Yeah.
But it was her instead.
Eric's not really mine.
Huh?
Oh, that's another part of the comedy, too, when they find out who it is, and Eric's like, is that why he always wanted to play catch with me?
Yeah. Yeah, when they find out about that. I mostly like when the tattoo shop and everything happened, and then, Stephanie's, freaking out, and she's just like, I've been trying to reach him all day. He's just walking out on the street.
Yeah.
He's just out there, and they're like, where have you been? He's like, yeah, the tattoo shop burned down. I got lucky because of my coat. Isn't that sick?
Yeah.
But now my favorite coat's burned.
And he has the brand of
and
the
he's like,
heart.
oh, look at that. He's like, I got branded.
Yeah.
He's just drinking a juice box, walking down the road, and
That's peak life, man.
Yeah, and he's just making fun of everything. And
making out with a garbage truck.
Yeah, how she's like, don't touch it, don't touch it. He's like, this one, and he starts licking it, and then he smacks the tire.
Dude, it's so funny.
I know.
Eric's the man.
Yeah. Hate to see him go.
Yeah, but
yeah, he's number one for me.
Is that the first time we agreed on number one?
No, Candace. Last one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
Candace in the last one, and then I think it was.
I know in the fourth one we were agreeing a lot of the bottom feeders.
Yeah.
And the third one I think too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But number one, we've been able. Yeah, we got it. Two. I mean, honestly, if you go to see this, anyone goes see this. If you don't think his kill is the best, then there's something wrong.
Yeah. I can see the log truck. That's the one I was between, just because, or the logs from the train, just because of the symbolism. Yeah, I was going to say, anybody who puts that above Eric's has got to be a die-hard Final Destination 2 fan. Yeah. That has to be their whole personality. Yeah. Yeah. But definitely a good sixth installment. Oh, a perfect. We're back. Yeah, we're so back. Love it. That'll do it for Final Destination Bloodlines. Mo, thank you for tackling all of those movies with me. Thanks for having me for them. Of course. Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. And if you haven't already, check out the first 5 movies reviews because they're out on YouTube. and you can dive into the whole franchise with us and let us know what you thought of Bloodlines. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.